already had conversations with Lisa in the past. So today we're going to be giving you an overview of how the judging process will work for you at the UK Business Awards or the UK Digital Experience Awards in December. So I'm now going to hand over to my colleague Lisa, who is going to talk you through how this morning's session will work. Over to you, Lisa.
Thank you very much, Neil. Okay, so the format for the agenda for our webinar this morning is, first of all, we will go through the format for the day, and then Neil will talk about the consistency of scores and about the evidence of tangible results. And then I will move on to the importance of independent scoring and questioning the finalists, and the importance of your feedback, comments, and what is very key to us is your timekeeping for the day. Then I'll speak a little bit about the chair of judges and also about the confidentiality agreement that you have signed. Okay, so the format for the day. The venue, as hopefully you're aware, is the Park Plaza Riverbank, which is 18 Albert Embankment, London South East 1. The closest underground is Vauxhall. And on entering the building, please go to the left and take the lift to level -4 for judges registration. All judges must register. The registration desk will open from 8 o'clock. And at the registration desk, you will be given a judges pack, which will include your score sheets for the day, some judging briefing notes, and a timetable of the presentations within your category. You will also be provided with a name badge, which includes your judging room for the day and your table number for lunch. As a reminder, we are expecting that you will be staying for lunch and for the awards ceremony, unless you advise us differently. When I send an email with a link to this webinar, I will also include a link for you to confirm your attendance for lunch and to advise if you have any special dietary requirements. The lunch and the awards ceremony are set as tables of 10, and we will have allocated you a seat. When I send that link, I'll also send out a link to a special rate for the hotel if anybody wishes to stay there. So that will be later on this week. So there will be tea and coffee and pastries available by the registration desk. But then please ensure you go to your judging room by 8:45 to meet the other judges and for the presentations to commence at 9 o'clock. And the first people will start coming into the room at 8:55 for the presentations. A full timetable of the finalist presentations for the day can be seen on the website at this website address. And close to the date of the awards, the rooms will also be added to this presentation schedule, so you can see which rooms you will be in. If you are scoring a category or categories where there are 5 presentations in total rather than 6, you may wish to see one of the open presentations from a different category, so it may be worth you having a look at that presentation schedule. Sorry, on this presentation schedule relates to the UK Business Awards. The one for the Digital Experience Awards will be available closer to that a day. And then a few days prior to the awards, I will send an email with the final details for the day, plus a link to our awards brochure. So please could you download this prior to arrival, as the internet access is limited on the lower ground floors of the Park Plaza. For the Business Awards, as the awards finals are being held on the 11th of November, we shall be holding a 2-minute silence at 11 o'clock. This has been incorporated into the timetable for the day. Okay, over to you.
Okay, thank you very much, Lisa. One thing I would say before I move on to looking at consistency of scores, if you do have any questions throughout the presentation today, please feel free to post those into the mail chat box at in your webinar homepage, and we will answer all of the questions at the end of the presentation. Okay, so I want to talk very quickly about consistency of scores. Now, one thing that's really important is that in order to score things correctly, is ensure that we have consistency across all of judges in trying to standardise the way we approach scores. So, first of all, what we ask for all judges is to ensure that that you have got adequate coverage of all 6 criteria in your scoring, so that you cover each criteria very clearly, and you give any feedback or make any notes that you wish the entrants to have on those 6 criteria. So the 6 criteria we look at will be looking at business rationale, the outstanding output delivered, the business impact and results achieved, the clear customer insight relating to the initiative, the innovative and creative solutions that the business has come up with within their initiative, and the effective implementation of the initiative. Okay, so we need to ensure that you cover all 6 of those criteria clearly. We need to make sure also that you are looking for the entrants to clearly and convincingly articulate each area, each of those 6 areas. Okay, and you will evaluate them based on the how they articulate and how they convince you on those 6 areas. We're also looking for you to evaluate the change in results from before and after the initiative. So each entrant should have a clear indication of where their business was before the initiative was launched, and where their business is at the end of the current point where they're measuring the impact the initiative has had on the business. Okay. Also, we ask you to evaluate how convincing you feel the overall entry is. Okay, and this is where you may need to use questioning at the end of the presentation. But we really want you to say, how convinced are you that this initiative has actually delivered the results that the entrant is putting forward? And the other thing we do ask you to do as well is to make sure that when you're feeding back and you're scoring, is to ensure that you're not overladening your feedback with sector-specific jargon. All of your scores and your comments will be given to the entrants at the end of the awards, probably a week after the awards, in their feedback report. So we need to make sure that your feedback is very concise and clear and not overladen with sector-specific jargon. Okay, so I'm now going to talk to you a bit more about looking at the evidence and the tangible results that you have being presented to you, and also that you'll be evaluating in the written entries when you're marking online. So the first evidence of tangible results we're looking for you to evaluate is the improvement in financial results. Okay, so we're looking for finalists to tell you how their financial results have improved. That may be return on investment, or that may be something like stability. Okay, we're also looking for you to evaluate, has there been any improvement in scores against recognised indicators, such as NPS surveys, employee surveys, reduced number of complaints, improved in response times, etc. So we're looking for you to find that evidence within those entries. Okay. The next area we're asking you to look for tangible results is there any evidence that they have achieved industry standards through the result of this initiative? So, for example, an ISO. Okay. And the next thing we would like you to evaluate from an evidence perspective is, has this initiative enabled a business to achieve access to new markets and new sectors as a result of the activity that's been undertaken? Okay. I would also like you to, and this is a very key area, is to just really assess to what extent you think the results are attributes to the initiative. So are the results that they are putting forward as the results related to the initiative? Okay, and once again, this may be seen in their written entry, it may be evidence may be given in the written entry, or it may be something that you need to investigate further through questioning at the on the awards presentation in the morning. Okay. And then the final area of evidence that we'd like you to evaluate is there evidence of an environmental benefit being achieved through this initiative? Okay, so these are the areas we would like you to evaluate and to see that these tangible results have been delivered as a result of the initiative that will be presented to you at the awards finals. Okay, so back over to you now, Lisa.
Thank you, Neil. Independent scoring. So one of the attractions of our awards to entrants is that the scoring is independent and impartial. To date, for the UK Business Awards, some of you would have started your judging, and this would have been done independently. And we ask for this to continue for your scoring of the live presentations. So please keep your conversations with the other judges about an entry to a minimum until after the scores have all been submitted. Please also ensure that you score each entry based on the criteria and do not benchmark one entry against another. All of this, so you're aware, all of the score sheets will be collected after each of the presentations. Questioning the finalists. Some of the presentations will be open and some will be closed. What this means is that an open presentation means that the finalists can sit in on a presentation when they are not presenting themselves. However, this audience should stay for the whole of the presentation. The audience are asked not to ask questions, but in the unlikely event that they do, it would be the chair's role to ask them to leave any questions until the end and only if there is time. It is then up to the presenter if they wish to answer the questions or not. Please remember to bring any prepared questions with you. As a reminder, you will not have access to your scores from the written entrance or your comments, so it may be that you also want to bring those with you on the day. You should add your scores to the score sheet once all your questions have been answered, so take into account the answers to any of the questions. And to be fair to all of the finalists, please ask the same level of questioning to all of the finalists. It is not essential to ask questions if you have sufficient information already. Moving on to the next slide. So with regards to the feedback comments, please could you ensure that your writing is legible? On the day of the awards, these are handwritten notes and they are typed up by somebody afterwards. Please summarise the positive and the negatives of the key points and put your comments as full sentences where possible, not bullet points. It is not necessary to comment on each criterion, but please ensure you use constructive comments, and up to around 100 words in total is ideal. Please also be mindful of the fact that other members of the panel may not share the same opinion about an entry as you, and you may be surprised about who the winner is when they're announced in the afternoon. We therefore ask that you do not provide feedback to a finalist until after the winners have been announced. If a finalist asks you for individual feedback, it may be more appropriate for you to provide this post the awards. And this also gives you an opportunity to share business contact details with them. Timekeeping for the day. It is a busy morning, but we ask you to keep to the timetable that will be presented to you. So if I just run through that a little bit. So as I previously said, registration is from 8 o'clock, and then the first presenters will enter the room to set up at 8:55. At 9 o'clock, they will give their first 15-minute presentation. At 9:15, the questioning to the finalists commences, and then at 9:25, the session ends. Those finalists will exit the room, and the next finalist will enter. During that period between 9:25 and 9:35, the judge score collator, who will be outside the room, will collect the scores from the chair of judges. And then at 9:35, the next presentation commences, and going forward throughout the morning. And then there will be a coffee and biscuit break at 10:40. And then if you can return to your rooms ready for the 2-minute silence at 11 o'clock at the UK Business Awards, that will be. And then for those awards, the next presentation will commence 5 minutes afterwards. And then the whole session finishes at 12:40. Unless, as I said earlier, you are one of those judging one of those categories where there is not 6 presentations within your category, but that will all be available on the timetable, which is on the website. The chair of judges. All panels will have a chair of judges. Normally this is performed by somebody who has previously judged for us, or it's somebody that I would allocate this role to. The chair of judges will be sent briefing notes prior to the awards day. And the primary responsibility is to ensure the scoring process is followed, including the timekeeping and the independent scoring. So, and then an email will be sent to each panel a few days prior to the awards to introduce you as judges and to introduce the chair of judges. Confidentiality agreement. As you're aware that you all would have or will have done prior to the entries are released to you, signed a confidentiality agreement. Please be mindful of this. And also I would have asked you to advise, or I will do for the Digital Experience Awards, if you have got conflicts of interest with the finalists that are allocated within your category. So the next stage from here on in. This webinar will be emailed to all of the judges from the UK Business Awards and the UK Digital Experience Awards before the end of the week. And then for the UK Business Awards, we'll be sending an email on the 9th of November. Okay, so sorry about that. Okay, so I apologise for that. The internet connection went where I shall go over that one again. So going from now on here, on the 9th of November, I will be sending an email to introduce your chair and the judging panel to all of the judges for the UK Business Awards. And I shall attach the judging key points for the day and a link to the awards brochure for the app for the day, and also directions for the day for the Park Plaza. With regards to the UK Digital Experience Awards, during week commencing the 31st of October, I will be emailing you with to allocate your category to you. Okay, are there any questions at all? Do we have any questions at all? Okay, so I think from Edmund, thank you, Edmund. Yes, a link will be sent to a link to the website, which will include the slides for the day and also the a link to this webinar. So they will be available for everybody, for all judges of the UK Business Awards and the UK Digital Experience Awards.
Hi Lisa, I'm back in the room again now.
Okay.
If you can hear me, I do have a couple of questions here as well.
Yeah. Okay.
I have a question here that says, will all of the entrants be receiving commentary and feedback on their initial scoring?
Sorry, well, you're asking, yeah, will the entrants be receiving feedback prior to the awards? Okay, the benchmark and feedback report is sent to all of the finalists post the awards. They do not receive any feedback or information about what the scores are at the moment prior to the awards. So only feedback is provided post the awards. So they don't know what their placing is prior to them presenting to you on the awards day.
Okay, thank you, Lisa. And I've got another question here. And it is, what time is the event due to finish?
The events for both awards should finish around 4:30, but we will be sending out a final timetable a few days prior to the awards.
Okay. And I have another question here. Is the lunch with the judges only, or is it with all of the awards finalists?
All of the way the table plan is worked out is that the finalists and judges sit all together. So there's tables of 10, and we try to go through the list of the finalists to ensure that judges aren't normally sitting with finalists within their own category, but you will be sitting amongst other judges and finalists. So if, for instance, one of the finalists booked a table of 10, you wouldn't be on that table, but other finalists booked tables, booked seats of 5 or 6, so that table will be made up of finalists and judges together.
Okay, thanks, Lisa. And another question here that says, when did you say the information on the hotel rate will be sent out?
That will be sent out later this week with a link to this webinar, and also it will include a link to the webinar and the hotel rate and something else. I can't remember now, but an email will be sent this week to all the judges of the business awards, that is, but the hotel rate for the UK Digital Experience Awards will not be available until a few weeks prior to the date of, until the middle of November. That would be for the UK Digital Experience Awards.
Okay, thank you, Lisa. And I have another question here. Can you please reconfirm what date we will receive information to allow me to consider the questions I want to ask on the day of the finals?
Sorry, say that again.
Please can you confirm what date we will receive information to allow me to consider the questions I would like to ask at the finals? So I think this is relating to when you are sent the you'll be sent the initial entries, the written entries, and these will be sent out to you prior to the awards finals for you to mark online. At that point, when you're marking those online, you can then prepare any questions that you would like to ask at the finals themselves at that time.
This is for the digital. I think this probably relates to the Digital Experience Awards.
Okay,
So yeah, so during the week commencing the 31st of October for the Digital Experience Awards, I will be emailing everybody with their allocation of category, and then a few days after, and then the following week we will be releasing the entries to the judges for them to score. And then so you score those entries online, and at that point, that is when you will probably prepare your questions for the awards day for the presentations. So the score, just to be clear, the scoring is twofold. 50% of the scoring is allocated to the written entries, and 50% is allocated to the presentations. But you cannot change your scores that you provide on the written entries. Once you've given them, once they've been submitted, you can't change them at the awards day itself. Those scores will stick, and then you score the presentation, and then that's the final 50% to make up the 100% of the score.
Okay, thank you, Lisa. So I think that's it for questions that we have. I just don't think anything else has come through. So, well, firstly, I'd just like to apologise, obviously, for the slight technical issue we had there halfway during the webinar. My sincere apologies about that. I hope it didn't affect too much you gathering the information from today's presentation. I'd also like to thank Lisa. Lisa, thank you very much for giving us all the information about the awards finals themselves and the role of the judges today. And finally, I would just like to obviously wish you all good luck with your online scoring. I know the UK Business Awards judges are probably in this process at the moment, or have these already been sent out, have they, Lisa, the online scores for the UK Business Awards?
Yes, they have, to the judges that have returned their confidentiality agreements, and we have had some scores in already. And I think the date for submitting those scores is next Tuesday. I think that's the date I gave. So if people are if for any reason they are unable to meet that deadline, if they could please contact me. But we do ask you to try to meet this timetable as much as possible, because there is quite a lot of work for us to do prior to the awards day itself. We like to get the first part of the benchmark and feedback reports together prior to the awards in order to avoid delay in them being sent out post the awards. We like to send those reports out to the finalists within a week of the awards, but there is quite a lot of work for us to do in order to be able to meet that deadline.
Okay, excellent. Thank you, Lisa. And yeah, so the final thing for me is to thank you to all, and I look forward to seeing many of you at the awards finals in the coming 2 months. Okay, thanks very much.
Lovely.
Anything else you'd like to add,
Thank you.
Lisa?
No,
Thanks very much.
that's it. Okay, thanks very much. Bye.
Okay, thank you very
Bye.
much. Bye bye.